If you've seen last week's video on the main channel, you know what this is. If you ain't, well, let me tell you what it is. That's a sorghum press. It's ran by this 3 to 5 horsepower international motor. We had a tractor show a couple of days ago. Well, this little fella here didn't want a hand crank. We had to belt it up to a tractor to get it started and running. Well, it got to where that wouldn't even work. It wouldn't do nothing. So what we're gonna do in this video, we're gonna pull this carburetor off. We're gonna pull this gas tank out, go through them, clean them up. Hopefully we find an issue, we can fix it and get this thing where it'll start again. Tell you what, let's pull this gas tank out of the way firstly. That might make it a little bit easier to get the carburetor device off. Just lost my bolt, man. I just lost my bolt. My bolt fell, and I don't know where it went. Oh. All right, there's the gasoline tank out of the way. We're gonna drain it in a minute, because there may be some water in it. Now, I think you gotta take these two bolts right here. I got to have a socket over here because it is recessed. Full disclosure, I have never worked on one of these here carburetors. They actually call it a mixer. I looked it up online the other night just trying to see how it operates, and they call it a mixer, not a carb. It does not have a float bowl, no float, nothing like that. Suppose I have a check valve in here somewhere. All right, let's go over here to the table and look through this thing. All right, here's what I have figured out so far. We already know that this is your air intake. You mash that down, that you choke. It's also got what appears to be sort of another check valve device, but it's got all the little holes in it. I don't know what that's for, but as you can see, it'll move up and down. Then here's your mixture screw right here. Got an itty bitty hole right in there, and that's pretty much it. Yes, sir. I'm assuming this is the venturi right here. This is where the fuel comes in. And I keep hearing about a check ball. If it ain't in here, there's got to be in that piece in the gas tank. Let's take this out, just see if there's anything in there. I got to get this out of the way so I can turn that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There. Now that being loose like that, I guess it could be sucking air around them threads. If there's a check ball in there, I don't see it. No, sir. Might be a little bit of trash. We'll clean that out here in a minute. Let me get the gas tank drained and then get it over here. All right, got me a milk jug. We're gonna pour this gasoline out of here. I just want to see if there's any wooders in it. Well, that's pretty nasty. Let me look at the bottom of it, see if I see any wooders. Yes, sir. We got quite a bit of wooder. Let me show y'all. See that darker stuff right there at the bottom? That's wooder. I'm gonna say that's very well could be what the issue is. Yeah, see it moving around there? We're gonna clean everything, and then we're gonna put this thing back together. We're gonna put some fresh gasolines in it. I bet she fires up. Let me tell you why it's got water in it firstly though. If you've seen the first video on the second channel, she was sitting right here and I was working on the, what do you call it? The press part, you know, cleaning it up. Well, it rained. I mean, come a flood all day. And I didn't know it was supposed to rain. And that's where all the water got in there, yes sir. Come around that pipe plug there. Matter of fact, it got water in the cylinder too. It took me forever to get it started that night. I had to get the water out of the cylinder, but that's, yes sir, that's exactly what happens. Yep. Let me clean all this up. I don't see nothing down in here. And carb cleaner is flowing just fine and dandily. This is homemade. It's a tube. It looks like aluminum, but I can't get it out. I don't know how he got it in there. That's a set screw. He drilled a hole through the middle of it. I don't know how he got that down in there, because I can't grab a hold to this set screw and turn it out. But anyway, I can blow through here with my mouth, and it ain't sealing up 100%. So that little check ball down in there, that may be the issue. But right now, now that we know we got a bunch of water out, let's put her back together. And fingers crossed that this fixes it. If not, we'll have to take it back apart and try to get this out and fool that check ball. Let us get this is Beckus on this is motorist. I'm getting more on the floor than I am the gas tank. All right, let me climb up on it. Let's see if a little fella will start. Let us crank. Crankity cranking down the crank some more. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna give her a little bit of choke. Oh. There we go, come on. That's better than we was doing the other day. Come on. Let's pull that plug, see what we got going on. All right, let's see what we got right here on this here spark plug. Yes, sir. Yeah. We have dry as a bone. It is black though, like it's running rich. So, I sort of think we ain't getting no fuels. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Put a bit of fuel in there. Let's see what happens. It might start. Never know. Yeah, man. Come on, man. Get the gasolines ready, man. Let's see if I can pour less than a half a gallon in here. Well, that was way too much. It sure was. Is it completely full? Well, there's quite a bit. All right, let me get back up there and crank on her a little bit more. Is he going to fire this time? No, sir. Well. She ain't doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. It won't start with gasolines being poured in it. It won't start any kind of way. Let me crank on it a little bit more, see what it does. Well, I took the plug out again, and it's bone dry. It ain't getting gas. I don't know what's going on. Let me dump a bunch in there this time to see what happens. That was quite a bit. Let's see if that does anything. All right, here we go. You ain't got a clue. You ain't got a clue. Hey, hey. Well, I finally grabbed a hold of this plug with the old vice grips. Got it out. And there's the check valve assembly. Well, there's the ball right there. I held my hand over this, blew through this. I could still hear air passing through. So I got my soap out, sprayed this real good, and it's leaking right there at the tip of my finger. Best I can tell, that screw's on. I don't think it's brazed on. So let's go over to the vise, put this in there, see if we can get that out, and then maybe put some Teflon tape or something on there, see if it'll seal up. All right, there we go. There's that part. That didn't really help us none though. It sure didn't. That's a ferrule fitting right there. Okay. So that's not where I needed it to come apart. So let me put this back in here. Just like that right there. And see if we can get this off. Well, it's moving now. Interesting. I have no idea what I'm messing up right here. Sure don't. Well, I'm gonna tell you why it ain't working. This is a union flare fitting, and you know it seals up on the flare part. Well, there's no way for it to seal up here. No, sir. Matter of fact, this has been cut and slotted, and yeah, I don't know how this is ever going to work. I really don't. Let me think about this, see what we can do maybe to seal these threads up some kind of way. I might try to just wrap some tape around it real good. Maybe it'll seal up good enough. There's no pressure on it, so that might work. Let me try that. We'll put it back together. I got it back together. I just blew through it. See all those bubbles? Well, now the check ball is leaking. It ain't real bad. It feels better than it did. So I think I'm gonna put it back together and see what it does. But for those who don't understand this, the check ball, on your intake stroke, it's going to try to suck gas up here. Well, it's got a pretty long ways to go because there's no bowl on the carb. So you need a check ball to hold fuel in the whole system. Well, it ain't doing that. It's just draining right back, so it can't get any fuel into the cylinder, can't fire, and pretty sure that's what's going on. Let's go put this together and see if that'll fix it. Let's try her one more time, and I'm going in the house to do a little studying. Well, went inside, got on the old interwebs. I found a user manual for this thing, I sure did. Everything checks out. I had it running one time, yes sir. I took the plug out, closed the gap up a little bit, thinking maybe the magneto was a little weak. It fired up after 4 or 5 pulls. It was running. Well, I got to fooling with something up here, and I knocked the plug wire loose. Of course, it died. She ain't started since. I've tried everything I know to try. I do not know what is wrong with this. Fooey on it for tonight, because I still got 5 gallons of sorghum juices to cook down. Yes, sir. Well, I reckon we'll work on this thing a couple hours tonight. Maybe we'll get it running. I doubt it, but we got to try. Let me tell you this first. I've told you about MLS and how it's multifaceted in how it attacks you from many different angles. Well, I've already told you all a couple of them angles. Well, here's another one. Most of the time, there's 2 or 3 different things wrong with a certain type of equipment. Take this for instance. We had water in the gas, and the check valve was not holding very well. I approach everything I work on now as if there's multiple things wrong with it because of that. We've already fixed 2, like I said, water and gas, check valve. Saturday at the show, the feller that used to own this, well, he decided to readjust the timing. And it's supposed to be at top dead center. That's DC right there, that's what that says. There's a mark up here. Well, that magneto should click when that DC lines up with that mark. That's the way all hand crank motors are. You don't want any advance in them, because if it kicks back, it'll break your arm, break your hand. It hurt a fella pretty bad, yes sir. The old John Deere tractor, the F30, they're both like that. And well, used to, both of them would fire up within 2 or 3 cranks. I don't know what's going on with the F30. We got to look at it sometime. But anyway, that's how you want it timed, is you want it to fire right at top dead center. That's just on hand crank motors, by the way. Well, this thing was advanced. It's probably about right there when it was clicking. So what I want to do, just for giggles, let's advance the timing with the magneto to where it clicks, you know, somewhere in this area. Let's just see what happens, because this motor, it may like a little advance. The flywheel, the mark, something may be off. I don't know. But, you know, this is basically a last resort, because I don't know what else to try after this. Before we do that, though, it's been sitting here for basically 24 hours. Let's get up there and crank on it, just see what happens. And after that, we'll fool with the timing a little bit. All right, let's choke her a couple of times. It fired then. I don't understand the thing. Well, it hit twice. Well, it hit a couple of times. That's about all it wants to do. So, we're going to advance the timing. I'm not real sure how you do it. The book said something about leaving bolts loose and it would turn. I'm assuming you loosen both of these and it may give you a little adjustment. So let me get a wrench and turn on them and see if we can twist that and give it a little more advance. Maybe start then. All right, they're loose. Well, I don't see no slipping back and forth. Well, they lost their mind. I'll tell you what. Let's just take this out. And skip a tooth on it. That's what he was doing. Let's go back the other way, though. Just see what happens. I don't know. I've done everything else to do. Yes, I sure have. All right, well, there it is right there. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go, let's see, which way is this turning? This way. And that's turning that way, which turns this way. So if I turn it this way, that should advance it. So let's just see what happens right there. All right, I know y'all ain't straight in line with it, but it'll give you an idea where we're at. Let's see, where does she click? Right there. That's about where it was. It's here, and the mark is here. Let's just give her a try, see what it does. All right, here we go. Hopefully it doesn't kick back and break my arm. No, sir. You ain't got a clue. Well, back to the drawing board. Well, it is running. I'll tell you what I did here in a minute. I'm gonna shut it off. We're gonna see if it'll start again. Here's what I just did. Been looking at the spark for the last 30 minutes or so, making sure we're getting good hot spark. Well, I got my little tester right here. Well, you see the gap it's jumping. That's at least a quarter, maybe 3/8, probably 3/8. Anyway, ain't nothing wrong with the magneto. Then I got to looking at the plug, and you know, I've had it out 100 times, lay it here, and it's, you know, throwing a big old blue spark. But I was cranking it over my handle a while ago, and you know, it's got a waste spark. It'll spark on top dead center of compression, and then top dead center when it's fixing to start the intake stroke. And it would fire out the carburetor. And I thought, well, what in the devil's going on? Why will it fire here, but not on the compression stroke? Well, then I got to thinking, dummy, there ain't no pressure there. It's a lot harder for a spark to jump the gap when there's compression. And that's, you know, a lot of times you'll be troubleshooting, you'll lay a spark plug out here, it'll fire and say, well, there ain't nothing wrong with the spark plug. Well, I got to looking at the plug, and I said, that looks like the old Farmall F30 plug. I had some extras, so I went and got them over at Mama's. Well, here they are right here. I picked the best looking one, stuck it in there, cranked her over 4 or 5 times, and well, it started. I want to shut it, you know, I shut it off. Let's see if it'll crank up again. If not, well, that was a fluke. If it does, well then the sparking plug was the issue. Give her approximately right there. All right, fingers crossed that this was not a fluke. Please start again, little fella. Well, looking like it was a fluke. If it starts up a third time, I'm gonna say we got it fixed. Oh yeah. Well, I guess it was a fluke. I don't know what's wrong with it. Not a clue. I'm gonna give her one more try, and I'm gonna be done for the evening. Hard. Considering that I've started it 3 times tonight after I changed the spark plug, I'm gonna say that's probably what the issue is, but it still don't want to start real easy. A lot of these old motors, they have got a sequence or a trick or something that you have to do to make them start. And I think I sort of figured this one out. What you want to do, you get the flywheel, that right there is top dead center where it's gonna fire, or just, you know, get into the compression stroke. Well, you want to rock it all the way back up to here. Get it on the intake stroke, just rock it back and forth, back and forth. What you're doing is you're sucking in fuel every time you do that. And apparently that's what it wants to start. The old John Deeres, sometimes you have to do that to them. That's, you know, the why I started doing it to this one. I'm gonna try it one more time. Let's see if she'll start. If so, then I'm gonna say it's fixed. And well, I need to wash this out tomorrow. And then we're gonna go cut us some sorghum one day this week and run it through this press, and we're gonna make some more molasses, I hope. And I hope it's a lot better than what I did last night. Yes, sir. I'm opening at about 3/4 of a turn. Oh yeah, let's see if she'll start. Come on, baby, don't let me down. Well, I'm gonna say we ain't got her fixed. No, sir. I think that was a fluke of some kind. Because she sure don't want to start now. Well, it took quite a bit of effort, but she got started that time too. Something still ain't right. Just for experimentationing sake, I put the old sparking plug back in. Let's see what it does. Well, let me put that other plug back in to see what it does. Yep, kicking over on intake stroke again. I do believe we have discovered what the issue is. Well, I think it's safe to say that it's most likely the sparking plug causing the issue. You know, you can crank on the sucker all night long, it won't do nothing. Well, you put a different plug in it, you can fire it up 3 or 4 times, and it, you know, it's still kind of hard to get started. So I sort of think there's something wrong with that one too, maybe. But yes, sir, I believe that's what it is. I'll see if my handy dandy assistant's got a new one. If not, we'll order one. But I think we can get it running good enough to finish what we want to do. Run the rest of that sorghum through here, make us some more molasses. I'm going to get me a candy thermometer tomorrow if Walmart's got one. If not, I'll get one off Amazon. And I'm going to do my best to do a little bit better on that molasses this time. Right now, though, going in the house, I'm tired. Well, I tried starting it this morning, and yeah, it wouldn't do nothing. No, sir. I got me some brand spankingly new sparking plugs, so fix to put one of them in. Gonna give that a try. Fellers, I'm just guessing at this point because I've done all that I know to do. Anyway, just put this plug in there. See if it'll fire off. I was just talking away for the last 10 minutes, fiddling with this thing. I got down, went and turned my fan on. I looked at my phone there. I never hit record. Y'all didn't miss much. I think it hit one time, that's about it. We're gonna try it again. Oh. Well, it runs once again. You know, it ran the other night. But let me tell y'all this. You know, right after I told you I was putting a new plug in, well, I forgot to turn my camera on. So I fooled with it for 10 or 15 minutes and it wouldn't do nothing. I poured gasolines in it twice. It would hit a little bit and then that was it. Why it ran this time, I don't know. I ain't got a clue. This thing is possessed. Got a mind of its own. I shut her off. I'm gonna see if it'll start again. Let me put y'all on the stand. Maybe I'll turn the camera on this time. All right, firing the hole for the 982nd time. That's twice now she started pretty easily. I'm gonna say it was a plug. That's kind of odd to me though, but you know, out of what, 5 or 6 plugs over here, every last one of them was bad. I'm just wondering if the mag is a little bit weak and you got to have a brand spanking new plug to make it run. I don't know. All I know is it's running. I might cut it off here in a little bit, try it again, but I'm gonna let it run right now. It's been running, oh, maybe 5 minutes. Let's give her another try, see if it'll start. Well, here's what I did this time to make her start. I tried it at a half a turn, didn't do nothing. Tried it at 3/4 of a turn, didn't do nothing. Went to a turn and a half, she fired up. These old motors, well, like my John Deere B and the old Farmall F30, they need a lot of gasolines to start. Well, the other day when I was fooling with that other John Deere B in the first video on the second channel, Several of y'all commented about gas pouring out the carb. Fellers, that's what they need to start. Apparently this one needs to be at 1.5 turns to start. You see the black smoke coming out. You lean her out to about 3/4. She runs just fine. I'm gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna leave it at 1.5. We'll see if it starts. If it does, then that's what it is. Remember me telling y'all the other day that a lot of these old motors, they got a sequence, a trick that you got to learn on what it takes to start them. Let's see if this works. Fire in the hole for the 3,467th time. By George, I believe we got it. I'm gonna shut her down. I'm gonna come back in the morning when it's cold. Let's see if that works. If it does, then I'm convinced that that's how you gotta start it. Turn it out 1.5 turns. Once it gets running, turn it back to about 3/4. See y'all tomorrow, we'll try it out. All right, it's the next morning. I'm anxious to see what this thing does. I got that 1.5 turn out. Of course, I'm gonna have to choke it a little bit. Well, fellers, back to the drawing board once again, because I don't have a clue. Don't have a clue what this thing wants or needs. Come on. Come on. Well, it took a minute. The old girl finally fired up. Let me show you what I did and tell you what my new theory is. If y'all ain't figured it out yet, I got a lot of theories. Most of them are wrong, but every once in a while I get it right. Well, let me tell you this first. You know, I told you I found a book on it. Well, the book says 1/2 turn on the gas. Choke it whilst turning it through 2 compression strokes. Then it should start. Then I think they say open it up to wherever it runs good. Well, I choked a little feller a whole bunch. I choked it enough that the gas was pouring out the choke area here. She was flooded. So I just turned the fuel off, cranked her over a few times, and it fired up. So like I told y'all, these things, they got a way they want to be started. And it takes a while to figure it out sometimes. Anyway, I got to go to work. We're going to leave us sitting here. We're going to try this again tonight when I get home. If she starts, then, well, we've got her figured out. Well, here's my next victim, I guess you could say. I'm at my handy dandy assistant shop. I don't know what you call this. It's a crew cab, 4-door. It's an International S something. I don't know what you call it. But he's taking it to auction tomorrow, I believe. He said it's running pretty rough. He wanted me to look at it. So let's pop a hood, fire it up, just see what it's doing. All right, let's fire this thing up. Well, it just quit on me. It's smoking like it's rich. Let's pull the breather off. Make sure the choke ain't stuck on. As you can see, the choke is definitely closed, and it's warm enough that I don't think we need to choke on. It's the stove type right down there. Got a little spring in it, and as the manifold warms up, that spring will open the choke. There, they can be aggravating. Dude, when he had the 327, the 2-barrel, he had that. I mean, you couldn't hardly get it set. That, well, I'll tell you what, let's just prop this open, see if it runs any better. If it does, then we're going to adjust on that choke. Well, it won't even stay running now with the choke open, but it ain't smoking like it was, but it's still running pretty doggone. Oh, look here. That screwdriver's got gasoline all over it. Let me see what we got going on. Okay. We got a flooding issue. Yeah. That float, I think, is hanging. This gas is dripping out of the booster. Let's see if that helped it any. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's rough on my knees. It's definitely better. Is the choke still closed? Yeah, but it's opening up. I believe that was the issue. No, it ain't fixed either. It's still shooting out the vent hole. Let me get something a little bit better to peck on it with. By George, I think we've got it. The float was hanging. There was gas dripping out of the booster in there. And then, I don't know if y'all saw it or not, it shot out of the vent hole there once or twice. Well, I took my old trusty chanty locks, yes sir. Violence is the answer sometimes, yes sir, brute force. Anyway, it's sitting there purring like a kitten now. I think we're done here. 'Tis the nighttime. I'm putting this mixture at 1 1/2 turns. I'm gonna choke her for 2 cranks, and then we're gonna see if she'll start. All right, here we go. Well, come on. Still hit. Y'all saw all that black smoke coming out of the exhaust, didn't you? When it first started, it was still running pretty rich. Well, it's gonna take a while to figure it out exactly, but we're on the right track, I do believe. At least we finally get the thing to start and run. A couple of days ago, it wouldn't do nothing. I do believe the other day at the show, when we had it belted up to the little cub and it still wouldn't start, I think main issue was sparking plug, yes sir. Of course, you know, we had water in our gasolines. Well, remember what I told you, MLS, it's multifaceted. It can hit you from several different angles. One of those is you think you only got one issue, but you got 2 or 3. Yes, sir. Like I said, every time I work on something, I approach it like it's going to have 2 or 3 different things wrong with it. Anyway, glad we got that running. Now we cut some sorghum, run it through there, make us some more molasses. Well, I also wait on parts for another video. Let's work on this chainsaw. My primer bulb, it busted on me the other day. So I got a new one of them, put on it, because I got to have it for another video. Then, my old leaf blower, it's been down all summer. Might rebuild the carb on it, see if it'll run. The other day, when I tore this apart, I told myself that I'd remember which line went to which port on this little primer bulb. And that went about as well as you would expect, because I just ain't got no memory. No. So I got to figure out what's what. This green line is going into the tank. So that's the return. So your black line is going to be on the suction side. Now which one of these is the suction side? That one right there. Short one is suction. Okay. That was a little bit easier than I thought it would be. Anyway, let me get these put on here. Then I'll get this put back together. I've got to get a work light here. I'm getting where I can't see. My shadow gets in the way. Anyway, that's back together. Let's see if she'll. Oh yeah, look at that fuel. Yes, sir. Let me put the covers back on it, and we'll fire it up. We'll see if it'll fire up. All right, that's it. I done pumped her up. Let's see if she'll fire. Choke is on. I forgot. There's a screw missing right here. Let me see if I can find the screw to put in that. Got my box of screws. Let me see if I can't find one that'll work. Well, it ain't gonna work if I drop it. Nope, not big enough. And there's probably big enough, but it's too long. Well, they went through the plastic, but not much, so I think we'll call that good. Oh yeah, the handle ain't loose no more. That one's fixed. Here's the leaf blower. It didn't want to run back in the spring. And, well, if this rebuild kit, where is it at? Right here. If this don't fix it, you just might see this thing smashed into a million pieces. Because it's about as aggravating as that old chainsaw was from last year. I hope I remember how the thing goes back together. Anyways, let me open this rebuild kit up. Let me get this rebuilt. I'm not going to, this is not a tutorial. Let me get this rebuilt, and then we'll see if the thing will start. Where's my screws? Let's see. Well, I got one screw. I wonder where the other one is. This is what happens when you leave stuff laying for 6 months. This was on this table in the garage, so it's a wonder I've got any of it left. Yeah, I'm missing that screw, so let me see if I can find a screw to replace that one. I found it. Right over there where it was supposed to be. Let me see if I remember how this goes together. I am missing a longer screw, so that's good. Let me get this one in. I'll see if I can find the other one. All right, let me see if I can find the other one. Can't find it. Well, we're done. Well, I found a deck screw. I think it's a number 10. I had to cut it off. I think it's going to work. Let us see. Like a champ. Yes, sir. Just like it's come from the factory. All right, let me get my air filter in. Get my cover on. Then we'll give her the old try. I reckon I need to put some gasolines in it firstly. All right. All right, let's see if this bulb is going to pump up. Just trying, but not real good. No, sir. See, this was the issue I had last time. And I thought it was the diaphragm inside, but that ain't the issue. It won't pump nothing. Let me do a little more investigating. Like I said, you may see this little fella go flying across the shop. You know what the issue might be? That little hole right there. I can see right through it. There's supposed to be a check valve in there. It's a little rubber, they call it a duck bill. I bet you money there's supposed to be one in there. Let me see, I may have one somewhere. Let me go look and see. All right, I found my little check valves. That's what they call a duck bill right there. And then you got these type here. Yeah, that may be what it takes. We're going to try one of them and just see what happens. Well, upon further investigation, I do believe I'm correct. And this is the one that it gets. You got a jammer on down in there. I wasn't pushing it hard enough to make it stay. So I think that right there might be good enough. Let me give her a little bit more. Get down in there. Now let's put this back together. And fingers crossed that this is going to fix this little feller. All right, did that fix it? No, sir. I don't see nothing happening. Let me take this back off. Look at it. I'll be back in a minute. Well, it's been an hour, possibly 2 hours later. It's pumping somewhat, not like it should, but it is pumping a little bit. I would tell you what I did to make it pump that much, but I ain't got a clue. I did change the bulb, and I've had it apart about 64,000 times, and well, this last time I put it together, it decided it wanted to pump a little bit. So, we're going to see if it'll start. Let's give it a try. This little feller has never acted right ever since I got it. It was given to me. I don't know what the problem is, but let's give her the old try. And then if it acts up, well, you may see it slung across the garage. Well, if you raise it up like that, it's always done that. That could be seals. That's a sign of it anyway. I believe that gas tank's leaking some. Anyway, let's see if it'll fire up again. Alrighty, well, got that fixed too. The reason I was doing all that, a lot of times if you've got bad crankshaft seals, you go to move it around like that real fast and it dies, well, that's a sign of bad crankshaft seals. Anyway, I'm glad we got the little fella running. Awesome. Well, I reckon that'll do it for fixing stuff on the extra side this week. Ain't no telling what we'll do next week. Y'all stick around. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it.